New York City, known for its fiery protests, but after Daniel Petty's acquittal, the streets are now calm. Why? Penny, a 24-year-old Marine, fatally subdued Jordan Peele, a homeless man behaving erratically on a New York subway. His trial sparked debates on safety, race, and justice.
Now, rather than people looking at this through the lens of safety and a schizophrenic homeless man who said that someone is going to die today, needing to be restrained, movements like Black Lives Matter have managed to turn this into a racial issue. And they're claiming that the reason why this happened is because Jordan Neely is a black man. Now, as a black man, I want to give you some perspective. A few years ago, I was in a park in Santa Monica, California, when a white homeless man harangued me and called me the N-word and threatened to kill me for 10 minutes. Now, fortunately, I was not trapped on a train with him and he kept his distance. However, I felt extremely unsafe. And the reason I felt unsafe was not because he was calling me the N-word, but because he was threatening to kill me. And herein lies the problem. Rather than focusing on the fact that this was a homeless man on the streets of a democratically run city that is so poorly run that we keep on spending money on homelessness while not actually resolving the issue, somehow we all get distracted and get gaslit into thinking that this is primarily an issue about race rather than safety. And what that leads politicians to do is continue to pander to us and play identity politics with their policies because they know that rather than focusing on their ineptitude and the fact that they're allowing homelessness to run rampant, instead we're going to allow ourselves to be distracted and view everything through a racial lens. Now, here's the thing. Racism still is an issue in America, but it's not nearly as much of an issue as it used to be. And I would say it's not even in the top 3 of existential issues facing America, because we're dealing with the threat of a nuclear holocaust and a health crisis that is making us all fatter, sicker, and more depressed. And rather than dealing with those issues, we keep on getting distracted by the most emotionally laden issues. And all that's doing is causing us to be more divided, because rather than focusing on the content of each other's characters, we keep viewing everything through the lens of race.
According to someone at the trial, protesters shouted outside, and there were attempts to frame it racially, but the expected unrest hasn't come.
You know, it's big on the media and Twitter, which is the reason why I came down, but then there was like nobody here. Daily, besides, so today was a little bit larger of a protest. On the first day, there was a pretty large protest, but every other day, there were no more than a dozen protesters of either. It was mostly only BLM was here. First day, there was a big fucking problem where the chanting and the bullhorn could be heard directly. And even when I was in on later days when the window was closed, I could hear that shit. They're chanting murderer and really terrible things at Daniel Penny while the trial is going on, and everyone can fucking hear it.
Compare that to the protests after Eric Garner's death in 2014. Raw anger, intense energy. This time, mostly silence, no mass protests. I remember those protests because I was in them. We dominated the streets of New York. Now, the reason New Yorkers are checking out of politics and the news. The 2024 presidential election had the lowest voter turnout in the last 20 years at least. Millennials don't care about politics as much as they did when they were younger, and Zoomers have never cared. We're seeing a decrease in political engagement from New Yorkers at this very time.